a while, I start to feel a little edgy, like I'm not getting something I need. And painting has just really brought me a lot of joy and a lot of peace, and just it's a great way to relax and just, you know, get outside of what's going on today and all the craziness, and just be with yourself and do something that's fun and beautiful and just brings you happiness. And so I'm hoping that I get to share that with all of you today, and just help you guys all find some joy and beauty in this day and in this afternoon, and just have fun, because that's what it's really all about today. Do you want me to get started with the housekeeping part, Christina?
I think so, and I'll go ahead and type it in the chat for everyone in case someone joins us late. They can read it there.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to pull up my notes because I'm likely to forget something if I don't. All right, so first is we just want to caution you, because occasionally, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally there have been hackers that have gotten into our Zoom meetings before. And if that happens, Christina is going to nip it in the butt very quickly. I would hope with all the upgrades with Zoom, that's not going to be the case. But, you know, occasionally a wild, crazy person gets in on there. So Christina's going to be our Zoom police for the day. So please, you know, just have grace if something weird goes on. Also, I just want to ask for patience and grace today, because this is new for all of us. While I've taught classes before, I've never done it with Zoom on this scale. And so it's a little bit new and different. I'm going to do my best to accommodate so you guys can all see and hear what I'm saying. And we'll just kind of work through all the bugs as we go. And so one of the things about that, because it's really big class, in the past, I've taught classes of 50, 52 people. We have, I believe, somewhere close to 70-something people in this class today. So because of that, we're going to try to keep you all muted so everyone can hear. Zoom is a lot like being on speakerphone. When one person is talking, pretty much nobody else can. So if a lot of people have background noise and are talking, you won't be able to hear me in the instructions. So the chat is available. If you don't know how to use chat, just kind of scroll down at the bottom and you'll see it pop up where it says chat. Click on that and a little chat box will open to the side where you guys can all chit chat with each other, make comments, ask questions. Christina will be monitoring it for questions in case someone has a question. We can help you with that, or she can voice it to me. And if you have any questions now, please feel free to put that in the chat, and I'll get through these. Also, I want to caution you, if you haven't painted before or haven't done something like this, please make sure you're not wearing any of your good clothes. It's acrylic plant paint. It will probably stain. So make sure you either have an apron on or you're wearing something that you don't mind getting paint on. That also goes for your floor and table surfaces. So if you have, you know, a carpet or something you're on, just put something down so you don't get frustrated. We want this to be really fun. Second, grab yourself a snack and drink right when I'm done with all this, so that you don't have to get up and miss anything. Obviously, if you do, Christina will be happy to catch you up. And then this class is going to be recorded. So the cool thing about that is if for some reason you get pulled away or you just are running a little slower, some of us are more detail oriented, it will be recorded and available for you to come back to and finish up your painting if you don't get to today. And with that, we're going to go into the nitty-gritty of our tools. So if you didn't get a kit from us, I just want to make sure you have all the things you need. You should have some kind of palette. I like to use little Rubbermaid lids because they work great. So a plate that's coated, something that doesn't absorb a lot will be great. So you want to have your palette. You want to have a glass of water. If it's like a foam glass, you know, styrofoam or something real light, you're real careful not to put too many brushes in it so it doesn't knock over and make a mess. Also, keep it separate from your drinks. It doesn't taste good when you get paint in there and you take a drink. It happens. I've done it. You want to make sure you have some paper towels. We'll be using those, so have some paper towels ready. And then you should have all your paints. We're going to be using white, black, blue, yellow, and green today. So hopefully you have all those colors ready to go. Art is meant to be creative. So please feel free to use creative license. If you have more paint colors available and you want to make it your own, you have that freedom to do that. I'm just going to walk you through the way I did it, and the one I created here, but feel free to add whatever colors you'd like. So with that, you should also have at least 2 brushes. You're going to want to have some type of larger flat brush. I have a few that you can see here. They're just kind of squared off and flat. I'll get real close so everyone can see them. And then you're going to want to have some kind of pointy brush or a round pointed brush. Can y'all see that in there? It's kind of hard with the sunshine, huh? Feel free, Christina, if you can't see something, to holler at me. So this is just a small pointy one. You can even have a smaller one. So those are the brushes we're going to use today. And then, last but not least, you guys ready to have fun? So hopefully I get some I always like to have everybody in person because I usually get a lot of hoots and hollers. I can't hear everybody, but feel free to throw them in the chat. So we're going to get started. If y'all need a second, I'm going to get my tools together here and we're going to get going. Here's how I'm going to do this. I have the board here with paper on it. I'm going to draw and explain the instructions, and then I'm going to start painting it myself so you can see how to do it. I'll be playing some music, so we'll rock and roll while we do it. And if for some reason you can't see it, I'm going to do my best to kind of try to bring things up close. But overall, one of the key things to this is having the picture to look at. So the painting on the site, or if you on social media, wherever you found it, if you can do a quick screenshot, that usually is like Command 4 or Control 4, and you just put a box around it and it'll take a picture. And that gives you something to look at up close, so that if you're a little confused, you can see it and be like, oh, that's what she's talking about. So before we get started, Christina, do you see any questions anybody has?
No questions yet, but I'll keep a lookout for it.
All right, awesome. Is everybody ready? All right, so we're gonna start with our big brush, our big flat one. And we're gonna use blue with just a touch of white. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do this with my marker. I wish I had a fatter marker, but I don't, so I apologize. I'll try to use the fat end of this. If this is your halfway point for your canvas, and hopefully you'll see that the canvas is horizontal, sideways, not up and down. So just a tad below the half mark, probably like an inch or so, we're going to create a line with our big brush with some white with blue. And you can do this one of 2 ways, whichever makes most sense to you. You can start up here with a small amount of white with blue, and as you work your way down, you continue to add more white to it and make it lighter and lighter and lighter until it gets to that line. I'm going to grab my bottle in just a second, my water bottle. Or you can start with a lot of white and a little bit of blue and start at this line and work your way up and continue to add blue to it so that it's darkest at the top. Does that make sense to everybody? If you just want to put in the chat, yep, whatever, if you know how to do a thumbs up type thing in there, cool. So big brush right here, big flat brush. I'm going to probably start with the darker side of it and work my way up. I recommend keeping the paints in the containers and then just mix on your palette so that you have that for mixing, you have more space. So I'm going to start with it being on the slightly, you really can't see right here. Here we go. Is that better? Slightly bluer side. I'm going to start up here and continue to add white as I work my way down. One of the things is this is a base coat. It doesn't need to be really thick. So you always want to add a little bit of water to your brush so that it spreads nicely. You don't want it dripping. You just want a nice thin base coat, because if it's super wet for like an hour, we're never going to get through our painting. So flat brush, blue with a dot of, a little bit of white, or vice versa. We're going to start at the top, and we're going to start, I'm going to just show you guys here. This is just below the halfway mark to create that horizon line for you. And we're going to start there. I'm gonna start some music and grab myself some water, and you guys can get ready to rock and roll and start painting.
While Tammy is grabbing some music, I want to share with everyone, in case you don't see the chat box, that you can change how you view everyone. And it's usually in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. There's gallery view, which is like the Brady Bunch where you see all the pictures, and speaker view. And the speaker view will make Tammy's picture much bigger.
Thank you, Christina.
Tammy, someone is asking, did you say white to blue? Tammy?
Yeah.
Why don't you turn your music down just a little bit?
Yep.
Someone is asking if they should do white to blue.
If you want to start from the bottom up, do white to blue. If you want to start from the top down, start with more blue and start to add white as you go down. So if you wanted to start down in here, you would start with mostly white with some blue and then keep adding blue this way. Or if you start up here, go down, you start with blue and start adding white down. So it's just going to be lighter at the bottom. And please let me know if it gets too loud. I just want it to have that ambiance for everybody. I can't tell what you guys all hear over there. So just do this if it needs to go down. Don't forget to add water in with your paint so that it has a nice coverage. Seconds left in time. She's on your mind. She's on your mind. Everyone knows. She's on your mind. Everyone knows I'm in over my head. I'm in over my head. I'm over my head. Everyone knows I'm in over my head. Over my head.
Christina?
Yes.
I came in late because the Zoom wasn't working, so I don't even know where we are right now.
So right now, they're painting the backdrop of the blue sky and leaving the bottom white.
Okay.
White
And
with a little blue. Yeah. Oh, you mean the bottom canvas. Yes, sorry. My bad. Cause that's you and me, and all other people, nothing to do, nothing to lose, and it's you and me, and all other people, and I don't know why, I can't keep my eyes off of you. You'll notice as I go in here for the sake of blending, sometimes I go a little back and forth and add a little more paint while it's wet. So as you're working quickly through it, because acrylic dries pretty quick, it gives you that ability to really go in there and perfect it to the shade you want. So I'm just kind of going back and forth to create that nice little gradient. Y'all see how it's like lighter to darker in here? Bring it up closer. So I lose that sunlight and then it just goes away. So we have a nice gradient of lighter to darker. You see that, Christina? Okay. I think one of the things I forgot, did I mention to keep your brushes in the water, right? Or at least make sure they're real clean as you're done with the brush. Otherwise what happens with acrylic is it will dry out while you're painting. So once you're done, either keep them in the brush like this or in the water, or just make sure they're super clean and then you can put them on the towel. This will be the difference of working on Zoom and working in person, is that I can actually see where everybody's at. So I don't want to make things difficult for people. I'm trying to see down at the bottom, you'll see reactions. You can put a thumbs up like that. And that way we kind of know you're done. How are we doing? I need to put on gallery view so oh, look at all these people. I can only see like 4 of you. So fun to see everybody. Painting away. Good stuff. I guess when I see the arms stop moving, I'll know most people are done. I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. Soon as I thought I'll just start again. I keep on down. I keep on hitting the ground. I see Ray down there. Hi, Ray. Nice. Looking good. Yeah, please feel free to show me your canvases. I'll miss that part of not getting to walk around. Beautiful. Really nice. I love all the different shades. Ooh, I love the one up at the top. Well, everyone's got a different mix with all the little, the strokes are great. Really fun. Nice. It's like we're getting close. People are starting to finish up. Very nice. Lovely. Good job, Julie. Trying to find people's names. That helps. Nice. Good job.
Tammy, someone's asking if they should do the sides of the canvas.
You can. If you have time, you have extra paint, you can do it now. You can do it at the end of the class, whichever you prefer. Some people love to wrap the paint around. Some people, they don't care because they want to frame it anyway. So if you'd like to, it does give it a nice clean finish, and then you don't feel like you have to frame it.
And we have someone joining all the way from Berkeley. Todd says hi.
Hi, Todd. Thanks for joining us.
And Sierra is asking, what is good to use to draw on the canvas?
Pencil is fine. Usually you can paint over pencil pretty well. If you have a pastel or a chalk type thing, that works even better because it just kind of dissolves as you're painting it. I usually use my brush with just the paint that I'm about to use, and I draw it out, and that way I'm going to paint right over it with similar colors.
So when we had to change our Zoom meeting link because of their new security settings, I tried to call everyone to make sure they knew. And I found out, Tammy, that there are people joining us from as far away as Chicago on this
Wow.
paint class.
Welcome, Chicago. That's fun.
So
Looks
if
like
you're,
most people are starting to wrap up this top section. So I'm gonna start to give the next instruction. If you're still working on the blue, that's okay. We can always put the instruction in the chat at below, but I'm just gonna get everyone started so we can keep moving forward. Usually these classes last about, I'm gonna turn the music off for a second here, sorry. Okay, usually these go for about an hour and a half or so, and I wanna try to respect everyone's time. So the next step we're gonna do is the road. So we're gonna create kind of a trapezoid, which basically is a triangle with the ends cut off. So we're gonna not go right in the center. Like if this is your center, you're gonna come over here about inch and a half and make the top probably about maybe inch and a half, 2 inches at the most. You want it to be real narrow. And we're gonna bring it all the way, let's see if I can do this thick enough you can see it, all the way to the end, but not all the way to the bottom, about just under an inch of the way up. Can you guys see that on here? Is it too far? If you look at the painting, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then we're gonna take this side and we're gonna go all the way over here, but not all the way to the bottom, probably about just over half an inch up. And we're gonna fill that with a nice light to medium gray. So that's the same brush we've been using, white with just a tad bit of black. You want to start with a little bit and work your way up because the black really overpowers white quickly. So you're going to use your flat brush, and we're going to use some white with a tad bit of black, and we're going to create our wonky little triangle. Let me get mine going here. If you want to draw it out first, like I mentioned before, I like to draw it out with my paint that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to come in here. Here's my center. Kind of bring it over just a little bit. Do about an inch and a half or 2 inches. And I'm going to bring that line all the way over like this. I might decide to make mine a little bit bigger. The beautiful thing about acrylic is if you don't like what you did, you can go back and paint right over it and fix it. And then we're going to come down here and just go about that high up. So white, a little bit of black, and we're going to go in there and you just go side to side again and fill in that whole little wonky triangle. One of the things I like to do as I'm doing it is come back in with a few little light marks, because you know how pavement sometimes has some aging to it, shadows, things like that. So you come in there, paint it in, and just kind of add a few little light and dark spots into your road. And that'll give it some nice texture and just the look of real pavement. So flat brush, light to medium gray. We're gonna make a wonky triangle here. I'll bring it up close, best I can so everyone can see it. Everybody see that? About 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch from the sides here, from the bottom. You don't wanna go all the way to the bottom. And we're gonna paint horizontal, or if you've got some great paint strokes, go with that as well. All right. You ready to rock and roll here? It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. Hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like a room is out of roof. Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Come along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Give me all you got, don't hold back. I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
Say you don't waste time. Yeah, because I'm happy. I'm alone if you feel like a homeless out the roof. Because I'm happy. I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Love is too hard, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Love is too hard, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, 'cause I'm alone if you feel like a homeless out. Cause I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Love is too hard, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, 'cause I'm alone if you feel like I'm going out. 'Cause I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm alone if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm alone if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. I'm alone if you feel like that's what you want to do.
How you guys doing out there? Everyone having fun? Thumbs up? Having a good time? Awesome. One of the things that I find extremely helpful and inspirational when I'm painting is to have music on you enjoy. Makes the whole experience a lot more fun. It also probably gets your mind in the right mood for being creative and just having a good time and not being pressuring yourself to be a perfectionist. So when you do this and you're being creative, fill yourself with an environment that makes you happy. For me, that's music. Sometimes it's candles, nice scents going on. So that's what the music is for. Makes me dance, makes me enjoy what I'm doing. How are we doing with our roads? Nice. Very nice. I can't tell what KTIN is, but good job. That's the bummer part about these, is when everyone has like a little acronym or like a shortened version, I'm like, that person. Let's see. Maybe this is less awkward. Everyone's working away.
So Tammy, we have a new question from Sierra regarding if you use gesso for your canvas.
Well, a lot of canvases, when you purchase them in the store, become pre-gessoed. If you're going to stretch your own canvas, then definitely I gesso those. And then I also gesso a lot of my personal paintings I do on wood canvases. I'll show you real quick as you guys are working. So like a lot of my stuff, my work, I do on something like this where I'm trying to get in a good light. It's basically like a wood block. It's like kind of hollow in the back, and then the canvas is on the front. And so I will gesso these before I paint on them. And this is really not great lighting, so I apologize. But yeah, so I gesso the top, I tape the edges off so it stays nice and clean, and that way it doesn't soak all. I paint with oil paint normally, and the oil will soak into real porous things. So acrylic's a lot easier. It's not as, I don't want to say, it's more forgiving when it comes to stretching and things like that on canvas. But yeah, if you're buying your canvas, it's usually pre-gessoed. That was a long explanation. Sorry, guys.
And Tammy, will you please explain what gesso is?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. Gesso is like a ground or a base for your paint. I'm gonna get down here so you can see my face, not just the midsection of me here. And what it does is it helps keep your paint from cracking, because most of the surfaces that we paint on, they move with heat and cold, and over time, sometimes they stretch a little bit. Sometimes, you know, like woods, they expand with different moisture levels, things like that. And what gesso does is it helps do a few different things. It helps protect your paint from moving as much, and it also helps to protect it from like discoloration as much, although some of that's more of the cover. Sorry, I'm getting off base here. There's just a few different things. Like with oil paint, gesso helps keep it from soaking into your canvas, your wood, things like that. It keeps it on top, so it allows it to cure and dry properly. With the acrylic, it does that, but it more or less protects it with the stretching and the cracking and things like that. That was not very technical, sorry.
And someone would like to know about the white. How do we add the white is the question.
How do we add the white to what we're doing here? Well, you're gonna mix it in with a little bit of gray. You don't wanna do it like just straight white. It's good to do it while your paint is still wet, but if it's not, just start out slow with the color so that you don't get too light and not like it. And if like that one's too dark, so I'll come in here. One of the things you guys are gonna find is that acrylic paint dries darker. So you'll start to find as it dries that it might dry darker than you want. You can come in there and lighten it up. So I'm just gradually lightening it until I get to a light color I want here. So I don't get too light and not like the white. Because white's pretty bold, which is good in some respects if that's what you want. But just kind of work your way in there and lighten it up as you go until you're happy with it. And that will probably still dry darker, so I might end up coming back and adding a little bit more light. All right. I think most of us are probably doing pretty good on the road. We're gonna get started on the next step. The next step we're gonna make is a really yellowy, limey green. So we're gonna take mostly yellow with a touch of green, and I just realized I have a way of doing this where you guys can see better. So I'll put it on the paper. So mostly yellow with a touch of green to make a nice, bright, limey green color. So it should look a little bit something like this, but again, like I said before, feel free to make your own color. I might even lighten that up a little bit. So you have two triangles on each side of our road, and we're just gonna fill those in with this nice limey green. If you wanna brighten it up, if you want it real shocking and bright, you can add a little bit of white to it. That'll just give it a nice pop. So just play with it until you find a color you like for the grass. So you're gonna use your flat brush again. Yellow with a little bit of green, add more to your liking. You can lighten it up with white if you want. So flat brush, fill in the left and right triangle with a nice limey green. Oops, on the
Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. He took the midnight train up anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train up anywhere. I see her in a smoky room, Snow White, she's the view. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, walking down the boulevard. The shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people, living this devotion, hiding somewhere. Working hard to get my feel. Everybody wants to thrill. Playing anything below the lights. Just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some of all just sing the blues. What a movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting, looking down the boulevard. The shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people, living the devotion, hiding somewhere.
How we doing? Getting some nice shapes going?
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light, people. Don't stop believing. Street light, people. Don't stop believing.
Tammy, we have a question about brush strokes.
Yes.
Does the direction of the brush strokes matter in the final picture?
Well, we're gonna paint over a lot of our base, so I would say not necessarily. I tend to do horizontal brush strokes on these for the background just because it allows it to be pretty smooth, but also it's kind of fun to have different strokes. Every artist has their own brush strokes, so there's no real right or wrong to that. I know that's not really probably what you want to hear, but it's true. I mean, you'll see as people start to share their canvases that everyone's looks slightly different, and I think that's the beauty of art. So again, like I said, when I do it, I do horizontal brush strokes to create that smooth blended look, especially in the sky or maybe in the street. But I mean, pavement's chunky, so if you got a chunky street, that's cool too. I know that wasn't a straight answer, but art isn't really a straight answer. All right. I'm gonna get us moving on with the details. If you're still working on the green, no worries. And I saw the comment about can I paint, mix my paint in front of you guys, and I will do my best so that you can see it on the camera. Let me see here. All right, so our next thing is going to be a real basic short step. Excuse the pups. Every time they see a dog, they freak out. We're going to take that. You can use your smaller brush if you want, or I'm going to use my big one just because I like to just get through real quick. We're going to make that light blue again, but this time we're going to add just literally a dot of black. So I'm going to take a little bit of white. Can everybody see here? Is this too far? I'm going to take a little bit of white here, a little bit of blue. Mix that in and make a nice light blue like we did. And then I'm literally going to take just a dot of black to create kind of that marine layer in the background of the sky. So to look, can you guys kind of see that? It's kind of a dirty light blue, almost like a blue-gray. So it's just the light blue like we did on the sky. It should be a tad darker than your light blue that's already there at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a real thin layer right across that line right there. Maybe just under a ½ inch. So just a little bit of a blue-gray to create that marine layer going on above the. With the marine layer, you might actually I said that and then I realized we're going to probably make it more like 1 inch thick because we're going to come in there and make the ocean after that. So light blue with just a dot of black in there. And just paint that right over the top. If your green is real wet and you need to wait a minute, that's okay too. I tend to paint thin so that I can go right into my next step. But if you paint on the thicker side, just let it dry for a minute and you can come back over. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'll bring it closer to the camera. I also sometimes just get a little loose on this because sometimes your clouds kind of come into that marine layer. So I get a few little loose brush strokes to make it not super straight. I'll bring that in so you can show it. I just kind of go in there. You guys kind of see in this? I want to like open this more, see if I can do this.
And Tammy, someone's
Yes.
asking how thick for the marine layer?
It's really thin. It's just a coating. Trying to find a way to show you guys this. Can you guys kind of see it right in here? This area, right along there. There's just kind of a light gray. Is it hard to see, Christine, or can you see okay? Okay.
I can definitely see it.
Okay. So it's just somewhere around 1 inch thick or so. And then you're gonna, I know I'm going quick on this because it's literally just 2 quick little steps. You're gonna take that same blue, add a little bit more blue right in here. So we're gonna make a little more blue and then just 1 more dot of black to darken it up. So a little more blue and just a tad more black. Just, you don't wanna make it navy blue. Let me do some on this paper right here. Can y'all see that? This is probably the hardest part of having a Zoom. I'll try to bring this a little closer. So not quite navy, just a little bit of like a gray blue. Can you guys see that? And what we're gonna do with that is make the smaller line right up to your horizon line. So it'll come right at the bottom. It's just barely less than a ½ inch. If you're feeling that your darker blue isn't quite dark enough to really make a difference, just darken it up a little bit. And this is our ocean back there. So just come in there and make like I said, just a little less than a ½ inch. And we're gonna highlight right along the bottom there. So your marine layer should still show up a little bit right above it. If you're sitting and you have a hard time with straight lines, feel free to put your elbow on your table or something if you need that to help steady, and you can kind of hold your arm and move it like this, the whole arm, versus trying to make your hand steady, and that helps sometimes. And if it's not steady, it's just a nice choppy, stormy day, no big deal. I know I didn't put a song on for this because I wanted to make this kind of go a little quick so that we can move on to a more complicated step. So show me some paintings. I want to see how we're doing. Nice, beautiful. Oh, I love the clouds in there. Beautiful, very nice. One of the things, if you can, is kind of just barely touch your sky, maybe just on the edges. Oh, very nice. Good job, Ray. I like it. Want to make sure your sky is nice and dry so we can get to the clouds. So if you can just barely, with maybe the edge of your pinky, kind of touch it. You can also usually kind of move it around in the light to see if it's still got shiny spots. If it's still shiny, it's still wet, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing with clouds, but it might be with other things. So you just kind of like either touch it or pick it up and kind of look to see if it's still shiny and wet. And that's the sky part. It should be good and dry by now, because we're going to get started on some clouds.
And Tammy, we have a question about, is this line between the green and the gray?
Uh-huh. The one, yes. Yes, it's right touching the bottom of the green, and the gray is like right behind it. Can you see that? So there should be some gray right above the darker line that you did. Not a lot, and that's okay. It's just in the background. Oops, sorry, puppers. All right. I know the instructions I gave you, Christina, yesterday, there's probably a step that we're skipping and we're going to go back to, because I realize the green's probably not dry and ready. So everybody kind of give me a thumbs up if you feel like you're ready to go. I can kind of get an idea. Awesome. Looking good. Good, good, good. All right. This is the part everybody seems to freak out on when I teach clouds. So I want everyone to look at me and take a nice deep breath, just cleansing breath in and out. Clouds are an amazing thing because they're never the same. Not one cloud is ever the same. If it was looked at it now and 5 minutes from now, it looks different. So I'm going to paint clouds a certain way to show you guys. You're all going to look different, and it's okay. I don't want you to stress about, oh, it's not looking like the way she showed me. It's really just, this takes a lot of practice to get clouds down. And I'm going to show you a basic way that'll give it some really fun style to it. I'm going to show you up close. This is pretty choppy because I want you guys to see that choppy's okay. It doesn't have to be nice and blended in. It is so hard to hold things straight when you're looking at the camera. But you kind of see how choppy these are. You guys should have the picture in front of you or close to you. You can see, did I lose my connection? Uh-oh. Is that better? Can you guys hear me? Okay. So here's how we're going to do clouds. We're going to take my palette, wherever it went. You want a nice clean brush to scoop out your white, because you don't want green or gray or whatever like in your white. So take it and clean off your brush and put a blob of white on your palette. So I have a nice little blob of white going on here just by itself. And then you can actually use what leftover blue-gray you created, but we're also going to do a dollop of black off to the side and make some gray. I like to throw a little bit of blue in my gray just for fun, because usually clouds have some color in them. Sometimes if it's stormy, they have a little green in them. So feel free to add just like a dot of color in there if you want some pink, make it a little later in the day. So how we're going to start is I've got some white, just basic white. I made myself a little bit of a light blue gray, some gray here that I'm probably going to lighten up as I go. And we're going to start. You can make as few or as many clouds as you want. I'm going to show you sort of, with a pen. It's not the same doing it with a pen as with the brush, so it's just kind of a basic idea. We're gonna take that flat brush and we're just gonna make kind of rounded strokes like this, like little C's with your brush. They won't look like this because it's gonna be a flat brush. And you can also kind of drag it like this. You can drag that brush after you make it and just kind of drag it out to give it that real pretty straighted cloud look. If you're getting nervous to make puffy clouds, make the striation clouds. Just do it like little, little brush strokes like this. It looks beautiful. One of you guys just showed me one of your paintings that had the clouds in there already. If you want to like hold it up again, that'd be awesome for everyone to kind of see. If everyone can't see, I don't know how that'll work, but they're just some nice little white and slightly light blue and gray in there. So feel free to have some creativity with this, but I'm going to do it the way I did on the painting, and we're going to get going on that. So your flat brush, I'll do it with some of the gray so you can kind of see it here. Just some little C's like this, and make your little, and then you might just kind of come in there. I like to kind of blend it towards the bottom and give it a little bit of airiness. So little C's. Make some little poofy clouds, or you can make them striated. White, have a little mixture of like a bluey gray and some gray. And we're just gonna make as many or as few as you want on the top section of your sky. All right, we ready to rock and roll, guys? Let's do this. Sorry, I'm turning it down for a second. As you're doing this, I forgot this little point. As you come in here and you start making these little cloud formations, you're going to do your darker part towards the bottom where the shadow is. Can you kind of see that? I'm adding a little bit of dark shadowing towards the bottom of my clouds. And then when you're done, you can come back in there and just hit the top sections, a couple of sections with the bright white, and that gives it where the sun's hitting it. So your darker part will be at the bottom. You might have some mid-range stuff and then some bright white towards the tops of your puffiness.
Tammy, what brush are you using for the clouds?
The big flat brush.
And what color for the clouds?
White, a light blue gray, and a gray. 3 different sections. So you can just kind of play with it. If you want to do all white, you can, but it's kind of nice to have those variations in color. Feel free to take your time. You don't have to rush through this.
Friday night and the lights are low. Looking up for a place to go. Where the right music, getting in the stream. Anybody could be that guy. I'm young and the music's really feel the rock music. Everything's fine. Don't even know and when you get the chance, you are dancing free. Young and sweet, only 17. Dancing free, feel the beat from the tambourine.
Tammy, we have a question about, could you please explain where the non-white colors go?
What's that? Where the what goes?
The non-white colors, and how do we blend all the colors in? Somebody's colors look like 3 layers.
Okay, so one, it's okay for it to look that way. However, if you want it to blend more, you're just gonna keep working back and forth with the colors as they're wet. Like I'm going back and forth in here if you watch, and just kind of the darker ones at the bottom. Like I'm kind of working with each one as I go. So this first cloud over here is super choppy on the left side. Whereas I'm working my way across, it starts to get smoother because I've been working through each one. So choppy is not a bad thing. That's just a style. But if you want it to blend, just as it's wet, keep working with the colors light to dark. You want your darker shadows to be towards the bottom and the whites towards the top. And top isn't necessarily the top of one cloud. The top might be the top of one little lump of clouds, because your highlights are usually throughout the cloud. So I'm probably going to come in here and take this one that's a little choppy, and we'll add some darker in towards the bottom and just work my way through it until I'm happy with it.
And someone else would like some advice on the shape of the clouds,
Okay.
how to make them puffy and feel more 3D.
Okay, so that's with that C motion, and then I come in towards the bottom with the dark, and I do a little bit of back and forth like this to kind of blend out the bottom. You'll notice I have some of this kind of stuff going on towards the bottom of the cloud. So I take it while it's wet, and then I come back in again and just keep working it to create that shape. So part of it is the light and dark. If you're over blending and everything's turning the same color, then you're gonna lose some of that 3D feel. The other part of 3D, that 3D feel is dimension, is to make sure that you're overlapping some of your clouds. You'll notice the tops of some of my clouds overlap the bottoms of others, and that gives it some depth. Let me know if that answered your question. If it didn't, you can ask me again in a different way that's more specific. Fun to add also, don't be afraid to add more light blue back in there if you're feeling like you're overdoing it and you want some sky popping through those clouds. You can do that as well. It's the fun about clouds is you have a lot of freedom with it. As you work it, I'd love to see them. Oh, looking good. Nice, Ray. I like them. Fun. I love it. Lots of cumulus. Oh, lovely. Oh. I like to always show people variances between my original and my class. As you can see, they don't look the same. You know, there's today's, and here's the original. I mean, that's just how it is with art. It's all good. Probably find you go back and forth with my painting as it dries, because you'll find the same thing as they dry. Sometimes it's darker than you wanted or whatnot, so you just go back and forth a little bit. Or sometimes I do that day in and day out with some of the paintings I'm working on. I wake up the next day and I want to change it again. See lots of painting going on. Good stuff. Feel free to show off when you're getting to the end of that. Nice, very fun. Good job, Sally. Oh, I love it. Very fun, Mary. Nice. Like that. Very fun. All sorts of great clouds. I love them. You guys are all doing great. Very fun. I love the dark, deep shadows in that, Andy. Oh, very fun. I like the blending you did in there. I think that's Michael down there, right? Yeah. Nice. Very beautiful. Very fun. Oh, I love the strong contrast in there, Leandra. Super fun. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready to get moving to the next step. And it's okay if you're still working on your clouds. You'll have time to catch up. Nice. All right. Lots of thumbs up starting. Good, good. I love how you guys are getting the hang of that. Good. All right. I'm going to turn this down for just a minute. There we go. All right. So our next step is kind of like the clouds. I'm going to ask you to mix 3 different versions of green. I'm going to write it down on the board here. You're going to do a yellow, green, and blue. Can you guys see this, or is this too small? Christine, will you give me a thumbs up if you can read that? Is that too small?
You know, I can't read it, but I can see it.
Okay, let's see. How about we do yellow? Is that better? Is that wide?
Yeah,
All right,
the Y is better.
Blue and green. Want to make sure of that. So it'll be kind of a lighter green, just kind of a nice basic normal green, basic green. And then we're gonna do that same mixture with a dot of black. So 1 plus black. So you get a darker version of that. And then 1 with blue and yellow, or sorry, blue, black, and green. So that's a nice dark, dark green. So we're gonna use that to make a variation of plants in the background. I'm gonna kind of show you really quickly what I mean by that. When it comes to bushes, we're literally just making blobs. So I'm gonna take some green, little yellow, some blue, mix that in, get nice, kind of like a Kelly green almost. Sometimes if you get too much blue, it's on the teal side. Then we're gonna do that same thing with a dot of black.
Tammy, will you please repeat all the colors that you've said, and I will type them up for everyone?
Yes, so it's yellow, blue, and green is one of them. And then the same mixture with a dot of black. You want it to be kind of a nice medium grassy green for one, and then a slightly darker version. And then one is just the green, blue, and black. So a real dark, a darker green. Trying to find spots left on my palette here that don't have wet blue in there. Okay.
And what brush for this next step?
All right, so the brush that we're gonna use, we're gonna switch to that round and pointy one. And we're gonna just make some plants in the background over by the park. So we've got some, like a hedge going on over there, up against like where that path is. So we're gonna come in there, and just along the horizon line here between the grass and the ocean, it's literally just little blobs. Just coming in there, and you can choose which color you want to use, but what I recommend is as you go to the back, which is like the farther back is the farther up you go, you want to go darker, and you want to come towards the front lighter. So as you come towards the bottom of the canvas, that's coming towards you. So you want to use your lighter green for what's closer. I'm going to draw out a tree really quick where we have some of those, like, I guess they're eucalyptus. Forgive me if I don't know for sure. I'm not looking at it at the moment. But a really easy way to do that, especially when it's kind of more bare, it's not spring, which is when I took this picture. It's just little wispy little motions with your brush. I'm making, I probably went a little bit high on that one. And you can use that dark green to come right at the center to make that tree. And that's back in the park a little bit, so not real close to the line, like maybe over 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. If you want to lighten the greens, you're welcome to. Just play with them. You just want a couple different shades. And just little swoopy ones, they'll do your trees. And then as you come to the front, we're going to do the same thing. And this is really, excuse me, a variation of blobs and swishes and however you want to make your bushes, because there's several different bushes as we get near that playground. None of them are the same kind of leaves. So you might come in there and do some little blobs, literally like just blobs like this. Can you guys see that? I'm just taking my brush and making blobs. So we're gonna do that right around here at the bottom corner here.
Tammy, we have a couple requests to see your original painting again.
Yeah.
Does it perhaps fit on the bottom of your taller easel to permanently be up?
Yes, if you can see that. Can you see that? Does everybody see that? It's kind of far. Let me bring it up real close for a second. You guys can kind of see the variation in bushes. Which way? That way. You guys see that? Like in this bottom corner, I just have some blobs, some strokes going up to make little pointy leaves. There's no mistake in this part. One of the things I will say is as you get closer to the water, you want your trees and your bushes to get smaller. And as you get closer to the street down here, you want your bushes and stuff to get bigger. So we're gonna do our pointy brush, a few different variations of green, and just lots of little blobs and strokes. Make sure you leave some grass area because it's a nice big grassy park. So we wanna leave that going.
Inside my brain, it goes electric, baby, when I turn it on.
Tammy, which green do we use for the bushes?
A darker one. So your blue, green, and black. And make sure you don't cover your ocean. You want to leave some of it coming through. Ooh, something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. Don't need no reason, don't be control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body, it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it. So don't stop like that. The moving lights and everything goes. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. I wanted to add this little tip. Sometimes you forget that everyone hasn't painted before. It's not their normal thing, but the less pressure you put on your brush, the thinner the strokes you can make. The more pressure you put on it, the thicker it's going to be. So if you want real thin lines, don't put a lot of pressure on your brush. Just drag it real nice and light. I can't stop this. 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 But just when you dance, 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 still. I'm used to just dance, dance, dance. Things I should do, but you dance, dance, dance.
Tammy, will you please move what you're painting closer to the screen for a moment for everyone to see your bush detail?
Wrong way, huh? You see it?
Very good, thank you.
Turn it like flat, and then I lose my light. Can everyone see that? It's literally just blobs. I just had an idea that might be able to make it so you can see it better. Let's try this. There we go. Is that better? Just for detail ways. It's just little blobs making shapes. Put as little or as much as you want. Just leave some grassy areas in there. With the plants, one of the things that's going to really make it seem more dimensional is to do different layers with slightly different shades and colors. That's why we make the different colors there. You might have some of the darker pieces in the background, and you come in and highlight with some of the lighter little strokes, and that'll give it some more depth to it. Just layer on top of each other. You can let it dry for a minute if you need to, and then add another layer of a different kind of plant.
Well, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just like you. My hero and I, to the life I want to live. And all I remember is thinking, I want to be like them.
If you're finding that your colors are getting muddled together, not varying, make sure you're washing your brush in between using different colors. That helps you keep those colors separated.
And I can die when I'm done. Baby, I'm crazy. Baby, you're crazy. Baby, you're crazy.
How we doing, guys? Let's see what we got for plants. It's okay if you're still working. I'm just checking. Nice. Nice. Very fun. You can also add layers in that background too if you want. Bring in some different colors and just kind of create another layer of hedge. It's one of the things I enjoy about painting is just coming in there and making it your own. Give me a thumbs up if you start getting close to being done. Don't stress if you're not. The details are in some of the longest parts.
Tammy, can you try holding the painting close to the camera and
Yep.
then with your paintbrush create one of the bushes so they can see it close up?
Yes, and I'm also gonna try and bring this into the light a little bit and see if this works. Okay, grab my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna add another little tree right in here. I'm just gonna take my brush. Can y'all see? Let's see if I can do it like this. Kind of go up. And I'm just doing some little upstrokes to create a little tree right in there. Can y'all see that, or did my hand cover it the whole time? Did that work, Christina?
Yes.
Okay. And then again, I'm just coming in here. I don't know if you can all see or not, but trying to keep my hand out of the way. And I just do some little blobs, create some shapes. Just go real light. In the front area, I just brought in some little upstrokes again, just kind of light little. I did some darker blobs towards the back and then started creating some grassier plants towards the front with the little upstrokes, little feathery strokes. Can everybody see that? There we go. You can make the plants go as far as you want. There's usually a pretty good size opening over here, so I kind of overdid it just because I like plants. Can also feel free to pull up a picture of the park if that helps you. That's what I worked from originally. Hopefully that's a little better. I got it a little closer. How's everybody doing? Need more time? Do one more song? Give me a thumbs up if we want one more song for this section. Okay.
What day is it? And in what month? This clock never seems so alive. I can't keep up, and I can't back down. I've been losing so much time. 'Cause there's you and me, and all other people, nothing to do, nothing to lose. And there's you and me, and all other people, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes off of you. One of the things that I wanna say just aren't coming right. I'm tripping words, you got my head spinning. I don't know where to go from here. 'Cause there's you and me, and all other people, nothing to do, nothing to prove. And that's you and me, and all other people, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes off of you. Something about you now, I can't quite figure out. Everything she does is beautiful. Everything she does is right. 'Cause it's you and me, and all other people, nothing to do, nothing to lose. And it's you and me, and all other people, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes off of you. And all other people, nothing to do, nothing to prove. And it's you and me, and all other people, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes off of you. What day is it? And on my heart, this clock never seems so alive.
All right, if you're still working on your plants, that's okay. I'm gonna just start with the next step so people can move on as they're ready. While we let that dry, we're gonna start to create our buildings on the right. And this is another one of those things like clouds where I want y'all to just take a deep breath. They're not gonna look great. Mine doesn't look great. It's literally just an impressionistic feel of houses over there. So we're gonna make kind of a darkish gray with our bigger brush. So the black and white again with a lot of white. You don't want it to be black, but just a nice dark gray. If you want to add a little blue to it, you can. Those buildings, a lot of them are on the bluey gray side. They're all different colors, but we're just going to make this kind of a shadow of buildings. So black, white, maybe a little bit of blue if you like. I need some more white here. All right. I'm going to show you on the paper. It's going to be easier if I do it with paint than try and draw a little line for you. So you want to leave a little line of green. You don't want to cover up your green, but leave a little line. Do about an inch into your water and just kind of come over and up a little bit like this. And then you're going to come down like this. And you're going to leave about, I'd say about 1.5 inches of your bottom section empty for your spot, the spot there. So it's kind of another like little trapezoid. We're just gonna come over and make not quite a triangle, a little wonky, and a straight line over right here. I know that's weird, but you're just, if it doesn't work out, you're gonna paint over it anyway, so don't stress over it being perfect, but it's just kind of a wonky looking trapezoid type shape. Leave some green. You wanna make sure you leave some green there, so you don't cover it up all the way, and then leave a little section at the bottom here for the spot. Probably about, like I said, about 1.5 inches or 2 towards the bottom there. So gray with maybe a little blue. I'm gonna do it right here again. Hopefully you guys can see. I'll keep my hand down. I'm gonna go probably about not quite 1 inch up here. And I'm gonna go over. Kind of goes up just a little bit, like a little bit of a triangle like that. And I know you're covering up some of your lovely work. It's okay, that's what painting is. You can come down there, kind of like a pie shape almost, but with the ends cut off. And then we're gonna cut over and make it straight. I know there's probably gonna be questions. Don't worry about it not being perfect, because this part's, a lot of it's gonna get covered up.
And which brush are you using, Tammy?
The flat brush, the big flat brush there. You see it? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. So just basically making the block with the houses there. Leave a little bit green and make it just like kind of a wonky. We're gonna cover up a lot of it, so don't stress if it's not perfect. I'm gonna add one more step in there because that one's pretty quick and easy. Once you're done, you're gonna add some more white to create a much lighter version of this gray. And you're gonna do a very, very thin. If you wanna add a little yellow, you can just give it some little sunshine in there, but very thin sidewalk or curve on both sides. And it's just gonna go right along the edge of your triangles, just like this. A thin little gray line on both sides. Don't cover up your green on the right. But same brush, just lighten up the gray that you just did and come in real tiny towards the top. And it can get a little bit thicker as you get towards the outside if you want. So just a little bit lighter than what you did. And if it's not showing up enough, just add a little bit of white in there. You can lighten it up because you want it to show up. It's your sidewalk and your curb here. So gray blob to the right and a couple, just a nice lighter gray line going down both sides for your sidewalk and curb. How we doing over there? Everyone hanging in there? Any questions? Thumbs up if you're doing good. Oh, that looks great up there. Looking good. Don't you all love my squinting? One of these days we'll get to all do this together in person. Oh, hey, Paige. I just saw you for the first time. Don't be afraid to show us what you got as you're finishing up your steps. It's fun to see everybody's work. Nice. Very fun. Coming together. Very lovely. One of my favorite parts of teaching these is seeing how different they all are, and they're all great. As you guys are working on the sidewalk and the blob, I'm gonna just add one more step. It's a very easy one, and Christine can put it in there, but we're just gonna do a little bit of white with yellow and create our street lines right down the street. I'm gonna show you with the marker. You start off going straight down about a little less than an inch, and then start to slightly curve to the left. And you'll do two tiny little things where you start straight down and then slightly curve to the left. That's with your your little round brush. You can use the really tiny ones if you have a tiny one for this. If you have a bigger round brush, just press lighter. But this is yellow with a little bit of white in it. Don't stress if you're still catching up. You got plenty of time. One of the tricks to being able to do thinner lines is to make sure the paint is out of your brush after mixing. You don't want to have a whole lot of paint in your brush while you're doing this. And your street should be nice and dry at this point to be able to hold it with your pinky if you want to set that down there. Don't stress about being perfect. It's not a photograph, it's a painting.
Christina,
Yes.
what color is she using? I'm sorry, I couldn't find the typing thing.
It's yellow with a little bit of white. Michael says that it can be mixed with anything if you have your own interpretation. Yellow mixed with a different color also.
I'm gonna throw us on a song real quick while you guys are working on these details, and then we'll get to our palm trees.
Tammy, will you hold your painting closer to the camera so everyone can see the lines close up? There we go.
Nice. Yeah, please hold them up as you're working on them. I love to see them. As you guys wrap up with the curves and the stripes down the street, give me a thumbs up so I know when we're ready to kind of start moving on. Cool. I'm going to add a couple steps as you guys are wrapping it up, and I'm going to try to paint it in front of you guys so you can see. We're going to do the rooftop and just a few little blobs for windows. This is super simple, so I'm going to try to add a few little steps at one time so you guys can do it. So we're going to do the roof of that wonderful Spanish house across the street from the spot. That's I'm gonna try and draw it like here. It's gonna look like a rectangle, but with the edges coming out like this. So kind of like that roof we used to do as a kid, only not pointy. So it'll be flat on the top. Can you guys see this? Angled edges and straight across. We're gonna have our little brush, and we're gonna make black, some yellow, and some blue, just kind of to your liking. If you have a red color or brown you want to add in there, that's cool too. I kind of just am making my own, so you can just kind of take a little bit of all the different colors and mix it up with some black. Or a little bit more yellow. But like I said, if you have some other colors there and you want to play with it, we're just going to make a shadow of a roof here going down like that. Since it's a bright sunny day, it's just going to look like the shadow of a roof. So I'm going to add a little bit more black in here. So that would be one step. We're just going to make the roof of that little house. The next step is we're going to, and it's not going to go all the way across. It's going to be about halfway into your building. The other thing you do is with your smaller brush is just add some little, this is honestly, there's no science to this. You're just going to take some white and do little blobs across, like a little squares. If you want to add a little bit of the gray in there, you can. If you don't want them to be bright white, you can kind of just, these are literally just little hashtag or a plus sign I'm using. Maybe you could do a couple of lines to look like a patio. Do you kind of see what I'm doing here? Let's see. Get it closer. I'm just making little marks for little windows, little patios, or just little marks. Can you kind of see that? Christina, can you see that? Okay, cool. This isn't science. You're going to cover a lot of it up with palm trees, so don't stress. It's just to kind of give it the illusion of detail. I think that little Spanish house has darker windows. So you might make that a gray window if you want. I know I did white, but again, this is an impressionistic thing. It doesn't need to be perfect. Might come in there and darken up that. So there's 2 steps, just some little white or light gray windows, that kind of rooftop. And then I'm going to come in. I know I'm going a little bit quick on this, but these are pretty quick steps, and I want to make sure you guys all get time to do all the detail part of the palm trees. I do mostly white with just a touch of yellow. I'm going to come in and do a rectangle right here. Let's see, right into the building here. A little rectangle, leave a little spot for your grass, not all the way over. Do a little rectangle. And a triangle, just a tiny little triangle on top. And that's yellow, mostly white with yellow. So a little rectangle with a little triangle. And there's our spot. We're gonna have the roof towards the end. You've got your roof here, some just little markings, mostly white with a tad of yellow with a rectangle, then a little triangle on the end. Leave a little bit of your box there. I'll bring this up close for you guys. Yeah, there we go. The beauty about this is that this is recorded, so don't stress if you're not getting finished. I just want to respect everyone's time. I'm trying to get this done by about 4 if we can. So the next part is pretty simple. I'm going to give you instructions for the palm trees because this one will take you a little bit of time. And I want to give everyone time and get some music and rock and roll in here. I'm going to use my brush on this because it'll be easier to show you on the paper. You're going to use your tiny little brush for the palm trees. You want to start on your left side of your sidewalk because you've been painting on the right. Let that dry. And you're going to just do like green and black, just straight green and black. And mix that up real quick. You don't want it to be straight black because then it's just black, but green, mostly green with a little bit of black to make it nice and dark. Again, if you're someone who's got different colors in there, you can make it brown, however you want. You just want it nice and dark. All right, made myself a nice dark color. These are mostly shadowed, so it's okay. All right, so as you start towards the back, which is closer to the ocean, you're gonna make tiny little thin palm trees that are shorter. Like I said, you're gonna wanna start on the left side because that side's dry. As you come along the sidewalk, you'll start right in the sidewalk, like smack dab in the middle of that little sidewalk. And they can be as evenly spaced out as you want, but they're gonna get taller and ever so slightly thicker as you move your way back. And you do eventually want them to go into the clouds and overlap that. If your brush starts to thin out, just go back over it with some paint. So as we move our way back, they'll get farther apart, so they're not as close together. So you have a little more space. And as we get to this very last one, I probably made that a little bit too far from there. You'll go all the way up into the sky. I would probably not do that with the second one. I kind of made it too far over this way, but your last one, you'll just kind of want to just barely, not all the way to the top, but just barely. So you'll end up doing that on both sides, closer together. When they're closer to the ocean, they get a little tiny bit thicker, taller, and farther apart. as you come down. You want to stop with the palm tree after you get to the end of the Spanish style house. So you don't want to go over the spot. You want to stop right before the spot so that we have that little street you turn down. So we're going to do that on both sides. And one last little thing I'm going to show you is as you go along, as you get closer and they're bigger, you can do that kind of same thing we did with the trees by creating little tiny upstrokes just on the last couple ones to create that palm tree bark. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you can go in there and just kind of give it a little texture going up the bark. So starting at the back, very tiny right in the center, shorter, closer together. As you move your way out, spread them out farther, make them taller, and just slightly thicker. So tiny little brush, black with some green, maybe a little bit of yellow if you want. And we're gonna rock and roll.
I'm obsessive, just because you can touch. I'm aggressive, just because I'm close enough. You got me stressing, and it's stressing and pressing the issue. Cause every moment gone, you know I miss you. I'm the question, and you're of course the answer. Just hold me close, boy, cause I'm your tiny dancer. You make me shake and numb, never mistaken, but I can't control myself. Got me calling out for help. Please, someone help me. It's not healthy for me to feel this way. Oh, you are making this hard. I can't take to see it don't feel right. SOS, please, someone help me. It's not healthy for me to feel this way. Oh, you are making this hard. You got me tossing and turning, can't sleep at night. It's time, please, someone come and rescue me. Cause you know my mind has got me losing it. I'm lost, you got me looking for the rest of me. Nobody's testing me, but instead I'm losing it. This time, please, someone. Cause you know my mind has got me losing it. I'm lost, you got me looking for the rest of me. The best of me, so now I'm over it. Yeah. Second guess my sanity. Yes, it's a lesson. Need some things for my vanity. My tongue is up and at you, let me see it get to the kind of sense is out the door. Can't seem to find the light. Take me out, you know it's that you feel it right. Take me on my pictures, how you clean your arms tonight. I'm out with you, you got me head over heels. All you keep me hanging on the way you make me feel. Please, someone help me. Help me. For me to feel this way. Oh, you are waiting. You are turning, can't sleep at night. It's time, please, someone come and rescue me. Cause you on my mind, it's got me, you on my mind. Got me looking for the rest of me. Nobody's testing me, but still I'm losing it. This time, please, someone come and rescue me. Cause you on my mind, it's got me. I'm lost, got me looking for the rest of me. The best of me, so now I'm losing it. You know you got me feeling like a bad boy. Your love's enough to further second. I said, boy, I'm telling you, you got me open. I don't know what to do. It's true, I'm going crazy over you. I'm begging, SOS, please, somebody help me. Yes, help me. For me to feel this way. Oh, you are making this please, someone come and rescue me. You are mine, got me losing it. I'm lost.
Tammy, will you please show the little house on the right again? Someone has the roof, but they're just a little bit stuck on how to proceed. So if you could hold it close to the camera, please. And I muted you, so if you're gonna talk, it looks like you need to unmute yourself. it's not letting me do it.
Sorry, guys. Didn't realize I was muted there. Was that helpful? Ignore my very thick ones, as not the easiest to paint while leaning. If you ever do feel like you mess up on something like that, feel free to like go in there. You can always go back in with the color behind it and just kind of patch it up, which is nice.
Would you mind holding up the little house again, please?
Uh-huh. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good, thanks.
Okay. One way to tell if you're kind of getting the right heights is just kind of look across from the street and see if you're getting there. We're going to just do a couple taller ones right in front of this house, and then we'll be good.
So Tammy, Kathy King would like to know, where do you get your wood blocks that you paint on?
Oh, sometimes I order them. I've gotten them at Art Essentials in Santa Barbara before. They have a really good deal on them there. I'm going to turn this paper around so I can show you guys the tops of the palm trees and you can see it. All right. It is what it is. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the palm trees because some of you are going to be faster, some of you are going to be slower, and as we wrap up the class, you'll have plenty of time to keep working if you need to. But what we're going to do for palm trees is kind of like a spider leg. Like if you were thinking of a spider and how you draw a spider, you'd probably kind of do this and create little legs like that. So we're going to kind of do that without the middle part of the spider. So you're going to take your little brush like this, start light in the center, kind of push down, and then let it just fall off. Basically, you're just going to swoosh it off. So start light, push down, and just kind of, so just like little spider legs, but you push down to make it thicker and then let up to make it thinner again. You can do as many or as few as you want. This is just some yellow in it. If you want them to be darker, you can. This is just kind of up to you. And then as you go to the front, you might do one in the front going down. As you do the back ones, almost just like hardly any shape whatsoever. Can you guys see that? The ocean are super tiny and it's literally just barely touching it. And as you get closer, I have a lot more palm fronds on there. So you can do as many or as little as you like. You can also add different shades of green in there if you want to make it varied. But I'd probably do it a little darker closer to the ocean and a little lighter as you work your way back. But super, super easy towards the back. They're literally just kind of like I'm just taking it and making little pom-poms almost that are, does that make sense? Just little blobs at the very back. So a little brush, and you're just gonna start real little, kind of making almost like a spider, but it's not even really that defined. And they just get bigger as you come forward. And everyone's palm trees are going to look completely different, so don't stress about that. As I come forward, I'm doing more of that spider. It's very loose. It's not a real detailed look. It's just a real loose shape with your brush. Is that making sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense. Awesome. If we have any questions, let me know. Did I already go through my whole list? No, this is one of my favorites. Sorry. Bring it up close for y'all. Super not detailed. Just a bunch of little spider legs brushed all over. Grab me some water, be right back. How are we doing, guys? Let's see some palm trees. Nice. I like them. Very cool. Beautiful. Love it. Very nice. Super fun. It's a nice sunny day there. So how many of you are totally in the flow right now, and how many of you are antsy because it's been 2 hours? I can lose myself for hours painting. If any of you are stressing about time, we're almost done. Just got a few more little details to wrap up. See some lovely paintings in the background of everyone. Lots of fun stuff. Sorry, I realize I'm failing at my playlist here. We heard this one already. I'm gonna, as you guys are working on palm trees, I just kind of want to draw out the last few little details for you guys so you can work on them and make them as detailed as you want. You don't have to put all the details in, whatever you like. There's a couple little things that we're going to add to this. One is the roof to the spot, of course, and a couple windows. And that's really simple little triangles. You can do a bright blue. You can do a little bit of a gray blue, like blue with some black and white in there. Simple little triangles I'll show you guys. Like we would have done, again, like in grade school, just a little rooftop. So just a little triangle, almost like an upside down V, and then a straight line across. And we're going to make that same angle and fill it in. So that's going to go right over your white house or the white building that you did. You can do a couple little like window door type markings in there, and I'll do that myself. One of the things that I know people are going to have a hard time accepting is that the cars are literally just blobs. So we're going to do that along the curb. And you're just going to make little dashes along the curb like that. Mostly white with a little bit of blue-gray in there. I'm making them darker so you can see it. They get a little bit bigger as you get closer. And you'll just add some little black dots to those for wheels. And don't worry, I'll go back over these. I'm just showing people as they get there so they can see what the details are. There's just a couple little details that are too short of a stroke to do a whole. So just some little black, that's not black. That's what happens when you don't wash your brush enough. Some little black dots right along the edges for tires. So those are two of our details. How many of you, if you can raise your hand, have the painting in front of you somewhere on your screen up close? Not really? All right. It's all right. So we're going to do the roof, the little blobs of cars right in front of the bottoms of your palm trees. You're going to cover up the bottoms of your palm trees. They're going to come right out of it like this. So just do the little blobs for cars.
And what color is the spot roof?
It's like a dark blue-gray, not super dark, but it's blue with a little bit of that white and black mixed in. So it's just a blue-gray. It's kind of hard to see with this mess. Let's see. I'll get this up close. Can you all see that? Blue with a little bit of white and black. It's not going to be like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that's your roof. So it's like the upside down V, straight line, and fill that in, and then just little blobs. We're going to do this pretty much with a lot of the same colors, so just mostly white with a little bit of little blue gray in the cars, just for like just shape. It's just blobs coming down the sidewalk. And then you'll finish up with the black tires and a black line right where the street and the ocean meet, just a tiny little, right above where the street and the ocean meet. So the same little tiny brush, you're gonna have that blue-gray, black, and a much lighter blue-gray. Those are the colors we're gonna use. Home stretch, guys, home stretch.
Now this whole world has no clue what to do. Got enough money in the bank for the two. So I gotta give enough letters to support your shoe fetish lifestyle. So rich and famous, Robin Leach will get jealous. $500,000 for the store. Taking trips from here to home. So if you ain't got no money, take your belt home.
Bring that up close for you guys. There we go. Is it showing? There we go. Just blobs for the cars. I'm still trying to get that in there. There it is. You see that okay, Christina? Okay, cool. It's such a tiny little screen for me. I really have no idea what you guys can see. Just little blobs, a black line, some little black dots for cars and our roof. So how are you doing, guys? Give me a thumbs up if you're still having a good time. Nice.
It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling.
Show off what you got going, guys. I want to see them. Nice. Beautiful. Looking good. Beautiful. I love it. Nice. Beautiful. Look at those. Great. Looking good. Hi, cutie. Beautiful. I love it. So fun. They're looking great. We have a couple of details left. I'm just going to show you guys so that everyone has time to work on the details. You can throw in one of these right between these two big palm trees, or you can do to your heart's desire a handful of them, but the street lights are basically a little dash, a long thin line, and you make a U at the top, and all you're going to do is make a little blob of a circle and another little line. So it's a dash. Let's see, can everyone see that? Is it too far, Christina? Okay, I can always make it thicker too. So you're gonna do black, your tiny little brush, little dash, thin line up, little U, little blob, and a little line at that. Those are much shorter than your tall trees, so do them. I know I made it almost the same height, but I want you to be able to see it. So there's that, and at the very end, you're gonna add two little things, and then we're pretty much done, and I'm so impressed you guys have stuck with me this long. At the very end, you're gonna do it. This is in like a dark gray or whatever color you like, because some of you guys know the colors of it and you want to do it more realistic. That's fine too. I'm going to do like a dark blue gray. We're going to do a little square at the very bottom here with two little legs and a triangle top. That's our little lighthouse. And then you're going to add one last little tiny palm tree right next to it. That can be the regular palm tree color, or it can be dark because it's shadowed way off in there. So we're going to do a couple of street lights, square. I'll do it bigger so you guys can see. Square, triangle, two lines. They can be the same color. You can get crazy and try to do detail, but it should be pretty tiny, so you shouldn't need to do a lot of detail. And then just add another little palm tree right next to it. So lifeguard station, tiny little palm tree, and some street lights. Black, you can either do dark gray or black at the end, whatever color you like. Little tiny pointy brush.
And Tammy, we have a request to show us the car blobs again. If you could hold it
blobs, okay.
Closer to the camera.
Let's see. Super not detailed. They get a little bit bigger as they get closer to the spot. Just little dots. Just the essence of cars. You can spend more time doing detail later on those if you like, but they're just supposed to be the essence of a car. So, all right. Last little, let's see. Did I already play this one? If I did, sorry guys.
Your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? I hero has a heart to the life I wanna live. And all I remember is thinking I wanna be like them. Ever since I was little, and like fun. And it's all coincidence I come. And I can die when I'm done. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe we're crazy.
Let's give you a close up. All right, so I just added in our little lifeguard station and tree, a couple of light stands. Super easy. Everybody see it okay? Awesome. Well, those last few details brings us to the end of our instruction. Again, this is going to be recorded, so if you're feeling like, oh, I want to spend way more time on this, but there's steps I feel like I missed, that recording will let you really take your time if you want, but don't feel like you need to make it super detailed or perfect. One of the things that's fun is about, I realize I'm talking to you guys and all you can see is my body. There we go. Sorry. Have fun with making it impressionistic and letting it just be, and don't feel like you got to do things perfect. I think that's kind of what's fun about painting, is learning to let go and just have a good time. Show me hands of those of you who had a great time today. Jazz hands. I hope you had a
everyone leaves, can everyone put their piece up to the camera so we can enjoy them all?
Yes, I definitely want to see. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love them. Super fun. Oh, that's great. Love it. I love all the variations and colors and the clouds. So fun. Look at y'all. You guys did so good. I'm so proud. Oh, so good. So awesome. And feel free to keep painting if you want. Make it your own. They don't have to be exactly like mine or exactly like the instructions say. Let's see, Paige. Oh, it's lovely. Love it. Super fun. Oh, I love that. Karen, great job. I had a really great time with you guys. I hope we get to do it again soon, someday in person. I hope it went okay with the Zoom class. A little bit different, huh?
Really got a sense of distance in your painting.
Yeah, it's just kind of about like starting back in that center section smaller and working your way out and making it bigger. Gives it that perspective of it being distant. I want to thank you guys all for coming. I hope you had fun. Thank you for supporting Carpinteria Arts Center. Hope you guys are all doing great, and I hope to get to meet most of you in person at some point. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for teaching everyone, volunteering, and having this fabulous idea.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
This was a real, it was a real gift, Tammy. We just cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for donating your time. This was just
my
awesome.
pleasure. My pleasure. I was glad to do it. Thanks, guys. We'll have to have a painting parade one of these days.
We'll see all y'all soon.
Everyone.
Thank you. I can't see everybody, but hi and thank you. Paige, hold yours up. I want to see.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Always.
My pleasure.
You did a great job.
Beautiful.
I'll see you around the block.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
There you go, Paula. There.
Oh,
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh, we all have
remember
our own
that.
versions of, right?
Awesome.
Right? I don't think you guys can see me. Can you see me?
I'm not
No,
sure.
no, we can see your name, Amy.
Okay. Oh well. We'll
Thank you very
share it
much.
later.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Most welcome. Looks so good, Ray. Love it. I love the nice blending in the background. Super fun.
Oh, I want to see Ray's. Ray, can you unmute yourself so you come up to be the big, it'll turn you into speaker view.
And then if you talk, it'll make you really big.
Yeah, talk.
Or you could sing. We'd be happy with that.
Yeah, Ray, you can sing.
Looks great.
I'm crazy. So I didn't finish the building.
That's all right.
So I'll keep it out of frame, and then it's genius. Like, then you come over here and it's like,
Oh, there you are.
It looks great.
Oh, yeah, mine does
Yeah.
not look like that.
I think Chris had a little painting practice, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
might have had some practice on me. I'll give him that.
Thanks for joining us, Ray.
How fun. Thank you so much. I had a
My
great time. with
pleasure.
you guys. Thank you. We'll see you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone, I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we look forward to the next virtual art experience we can do together. Thank you again, Tammy.
My pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye, Christina. Thank you for making this happen.